Hey, hi everyone. So, welcome to this pre match analysis for the French Open semi-finals between Sinner and Alcaraz. Now, what a mouth watering match this promises to be. Players are playing really well, very similar style of tennis. Both are in form, and it's really difficult to pick one of them. And I think it could all come down to the player who plays well on that specific days, because I mean both the players don't have any visible weakness. Both are hitting the ball well. French Open again is a suitable surface for both the players. Good backhand, good forehand, good serve, good return. Both are also comfortable at the net, have a lot of variety. They have been through recent injuries as well. So I feel it would be down to few points here and there that could decide the match. Uh, if you talk about head to head, I mean, in this video, we are going to discuss the head to head. We are going to discuss the key factors, the strategy, the playing conditions, and the predictions as well. But just to have this sort of match, this is the encounter which all of us were trying to see. We were expecting that this would happen when the draw was announced, and I think this is worthy of a final because both of the players, obviously with Djokovic not being around in the draw anymore, again no disrespect to the other players, but everyone would have wanted to see either Djokovic in the final or one of these two, and this promises to be a really thrilling encounter. So let's get to the head-to-head stats. If we see again, it's very evenly poised. So if you see the head to head, it's 4-4, and they have split the 8 matches. In the recent past also, it's not one way traffic. So all of their matches, if you see the score line, it has been pretty close, although most of the times they have met on hard court. Again, they both are so well from the baseline that it's difficult to pick one of them. Even on clay, I mean, I think they played only once, and Sinner won that match in 2022. Again, a great match. If you haven't seen that, I would request you to go and see the highlights. It was again a fantastic match, and so it's very difficult to pick one of them. Looking at the head to head, it's very very close, and that's what the match also promises to be. Their most recent encounter was in ATP Indian Wells just a few months back, and Alcaraz produced a great match again. He lost the first set 1-6, and I mean, it felt that Sinner was going to steamroll through that match because he was in such a good form and he had won the Australian Open and it was almost unbeatable. But somehow Alcaraz found another gear and he was able to come back in that match. That is why I feel it's really difficult to pick one of them. Now, talking about the tournament statistics, and again, if you want to get more details on this, you can log on to the Roland Garros official website. So they have all the detailed stats and they have a way to calculate the total points. So if I look at that, I see that Alcaraz leads in that department. In this specific tournament in 2024, the French Open, he has 319 points overall. If you talk about all the different statistics like first serve percentage, second serve percentage, breakpoint conversions, winners, everything, if you combine, Alcaraz has more points than Sinner overall. But if you look at two specific stats, one is the winners and one is the second serve points one. I think winners, if you can see, Sinner has more, but if you talk about second serve points one, Alcaraz has an advantage there with 62%. That's a very good percentage behind the second serve. So obviously, it means that if we get into a rally with Alcaraz, he still has more than 60% chances of winning the match or winning the point. And if I talk about the draw, I mean, obviously, both of them had relatively easier matches in the earlier rounds. But if I talk about Alcaraz, his last 3 matches, one against Tsitsipas yesterday, that was pretty one-sided match, in my opinion. Then there was a match against Felix, and all those matches, even against Corda, I think these 3 matches really prove that Alcaraz is playing well. He's in form. Sinner, I don't. think I need to say anything about him. Starting from the Davis Cup last year, where he just turned the match around against Djokovic, saved a lot of match points, and after that, it has been completely one-sided affair for Sinner. He has beaten Djokovic a lot of times since then, and he has hardly lost a match against anyone. So he has deserved to be in this position. He is now the new world number one also. So definitely I think Sinner has good amount of backing in terms of the skill set and in terms of the confidence that he needs to win. So that's these are the tournament stats. Now if I talk about the current form, so as I mentioned, Sinner is in the best form of his career right now. If you see his record this year, it's 33 wins and only 2 losses. So obviously, no one could deny that Sinner is slight favorite in this match just because of his form and how he has performed overall in this season. Alcaraz obviously has also played well. His record is not too bad either. It's 23 wins to 5 losses. Both of the players have suffered recent injuries, so it needs to be seen if that could in any way affect their performance in the match. We haven't seen that affect throughout the tournament. So I hope it doesn't affect any of the players and they both are able to produce their best. But let's see what happens. And as I mentioned, last year's Davis Cup victory has really improved Sinner in terms of confidence. And he always had the game, but now he also has the confidence that he can come back. And two of the matches I really want to point out, one is obviously the Davis Cup match against Djokovic, where he saved multiple match points and came back from the brink of losing that match and helped Italy clinch the Davis Cup. And the second match is against Medvedev recently at the Australian Open, where he was completely outplayed by Medvedev due to a great tactic which Medvedev had. He was playing really aggressive, just going for winners, and it worked. But even after that, being able to come back in a final, that was for me a proof, a testimony that Sinner has it what it takes mentally to win multiple Grand Slams, and he's able to adjust quickly. Even in his recent match against Mute, in the first set, if you saw, Mute was using a lot of drop shots and it confused Sinner a little bit. He was not in rhythm just because of this fact that as soon as the rally started, Mute was hitting the drop shots and also winners sometimes. So he was, I think, 4 love or 5 love up in the first set against Sinner. But again, Sinner was able to adjust his game, come back in that match, and then finish off the last 3 sets with ease. So that's why I feel that he has that ability to adjust. So even if Alcaraz is able to take the first set or even take the first 2 sets, still I feel Sinner will always have the ability to fight back. And that is why this match becomes more close. Now, if I talk about the key factors, I really feel that the way Alcaraz plays, it will define the outcome of the match. Both the players don't have any visible weakness. Both the players are playing well. So, what is the difference? What could either player do to create that sort of distance from one another? I think Alcaraz has a little bit of more variety in his game and more power. We have seen that against Djokovic at last year's Wimbledon, where the match progressed and there were a lot of rallies, but Alcaraz was somehow able to suddenly inject a lot of pace in his shots and able to hit either a winner or cause a lot of concern to the other player. So I feel if Alcaraz uses the variety that he has and the power in a good way, not completely relying on one of the things. Also, I feel the slice that could really trouble Sinner because he likes to be in rhythm. He likes to. It's like Djokovic who wants to play well from the baseline, but if you are able to hit short slices because he's 6 foot tall, so if you are able to hit slices, short slices, low slices, it would give a chance to Alcaraz to get ready on the next shot and then unleash his powerful forehand and dictate play. So he has to mix it up, use slices, power, drop shots, come to the net. So it is him who has to take that chance, because Sinner, his game is very solid. It's very difficult to break his rhythm. So the other player has to make an effort. So that's where I feel it would be on Alcaraz to do something different. Now, playing conditions might also play a little bit of part. Now, why I don't say it's a major factor, because both the players have that ability to adjust and play well in any condition. But if you talk about the conditions, I feel that the match would be scheduled in the night session. And if that happens, the conditions would be slightly heavier. The ball would not bounce that much. I don't know, the roof may be closed if it rains. So, all of that would mean that it might more or less play like a hard court, which I feel may favor Sinner a little bit. And if the match is played in during the day, which I don't think would happen, but if it does happen, then it would slightly favor Alcaraz, just because it would you know allow him to hit with more topspin, allow him to uh, make it more physical. But again, as I mentioned, it doesn't make much difference, because both these players have the ability to adjust. And even though the sunny conditions favor Alcaraz a little bit, but at the same time, it also means that the ball would be quicker through the surface, and Sinner would be allowed to be more aggressive if Alcaraz is not aggressive himself. So that is why it all depends on how the players are playing, what strategy they are using, and how it turns out. Fitness is the last point that I mentioned. As both the players have suffered recent injuries, I don't know if anything would affect them in this match, but it's to be seen. If it affects either of the players, then it would be a major advantage to the other player. So the key strategies, if you are Sinner, I think Sinner needs to dictate play and take the ball early, which I think he is able to do a lot of the times. If you have seen it closely, Alcaraz does like to have some time to get ready for his shots, to prepare, because he has a good wingspan. So he likes to get prepared and then unleash on his forehand or backhand. So I feel if Sinner is able to take the ball early, take time away from Alcaraz, and be aggressive and move to the net, then it would be difficult for Alcaraz to defend against that. On the other hand, as I already mentioned, Alcaraz needs to mix it up with drop shots, net play, changing directions, and do something different, just so that Sinner doesn't get into that rhythm which he usually does. I already covered the low backhand slice, which Alcaraz needs to use a lot. Now, win predictions. So, in terms of the form, the current form, the tournament, what has happened throughout this year, obviously, Sinner has the number there. Sinner is better in terms of the yearly performance. Even against Alcaraz, I think he's the only player who looks comfortable for most of the match, even though he's winning or losing. So I feel that we have to give the edge to Sinner based on the performance and based on the form. So that is what I feel, that Sinner has that edge. So he's the slight favorite. But my pick for this tournament is a bit different. I really feel that this is the year where Alcaraz has a great chance of winning. I feel that last year Alcaraz played a great match against Novak Djokovic at the French Open, and he was able to level up the match at one set all, but then he got injured. Djokovic continued to play at a very high level, so we don't know what would have happened. But I feel that Alcaraz really played very well in that match, and if he's able to do that, I think this is a surface which might favor him slightly, because if you talk about Wimbledon or Australian Open or US Open, I feel the more solid game which Sinner has, and the more aggressive game which Sinner has, favors him on those surfaces. But in the French Open, because Alcaraz shots has, a lot of topspin, it's much heavier, it has more power. I feel that it could really benefit him. So my pick for this year, and maybe I'm going against the overall stats this year, but I feel that Alcaraz should be able to win this match if he is playing well. So that is a big if. He has to play well, he has to mix things up. But if he is able to do that, there is no point, or there is no doubt in my mind that Alcaraz can go the distance. As I mentioned, this is worthy of a final. So if Alcaraz or Sinner is able to win, whoever wins this match will favor their chances in the finals. We don't know who they would face. It would be either Rude or Zverev. Now, interestingly, Zverev has a winning record against both these players, Alcaraz as well as Sinner. But about the current form, I feel that even game wise, if you talk on paper, Alcaraz and Sinner have a slight advantage. So let's see what happens. The match could go the distance, it could be a five setter. I still feel that Alcaraz could be able to win this match if he plays well. So let's see what happens. What do you think? Please post in the comments, and thanks for watching.